We have another guest slides.
Do not make me walk to the back of the room again. I will stop this car. Pull over. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm Steve Elias, Dean of the CAEL School of Business, or as JJ said this morning, or Steve. Thank you for being here. We have a full agenda. Do we have any new attendees? If so, please raise your hand. Stand up. Take 30 seconds to introduce yourself. We can just start here, there, and there. None on the right side?
Good guy right here.
Okay, we'll start there. No, you're good. You're good. He's a business major. So. Business. Better.
I prefer the equal. My name is Isai Gomez. I'm going into my senior year up at Tober. Appreciate all of you for having me. Tristan for bringing me along.
Economics is part of the school of business. It is within scope of our AACSB accreditation. Over here, there's three. Well, okay. Well, you're up.
Okay, I will, who's pointing down the direction? My name is Pat Katzmas. I'm the trustee for the town of Beacon.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Barb Richter. My business is Checks and Balances Bookkeeping. I help people understand their books and clean up their books. And it's really fun.
Morning, everybody. My name is Nate Greason. My partner and I moved to Durango a couple months ago for her job. I have been starting a small business of my own, providing custom travel planning to folks all over the country. So that one's nice and remote enabled, and also furiously volunteering here in the community. And I'm really excited to be in Durango.
Never tell everyone you're furiously volunteering. A group like this. There was another new attendee over here.
You'll hear from us. My name is Scott Campbell. I'm from CAEL, the Council for Adult Experiential Learning, and we'll be part of the presentation this morning.
Wonderful. Any other new attendee?
And I'm just his counterpart, Patricia Wallace, and looking forward to talking to all in a little bit.
Great. And Lisa, you've been here, but it's been.
I had a baby. I'm back now.
Excuses. Okay, we are going to pass around the sign-in sheet. When it gets to the back of this side, please send it over to that side. That didn't happen last month.
Oh.
We were significantly down in attendance. We know we really weren't. We're gonna start with our public partners today, so Mayor Clark Craig.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay. Okay, so, last time I talked about street sweepers and you kind of said, really, that's your biggest issue? So today I wanted to show you our latest project, which is Rock Creek. And this is an aerial picture. One more time. All right, that's a picture. That's a video. You can see it up front. Here's the really cool thing about this. When we needed to go get an aerial picture of our project, we actually went to the high school. This is a freshman. This is a freshman at Ignacio High School. Ignacio did not contract someone under 16 to do this. Okay? I personally paid for this. This is a donation to this entrepreneur. This happens to be Ezra's son, Vaughn Lee, has this business going. And you can kind of see where we're at putting infrastructure in here. We should have curbing and roads and everything by the end of the month. So this was about 2 weeks ago. And if you wonder, Vaughn's sitting about right there with his hands doing this. Pretty amazing. And I wanted to share that with you. And I wanted to just a big, huge thanks to Vaughn Lee and his new business that he's trying to kick off around at 15. So yeah, great job for Vaughn. So other than that, Rock Creek is going. If you didn't know, we were at SBDC kickoff here this last week. It was a lot of fun to be there. So any questions for Ignacio? I got more, but I'll just save it for the end of the day.
All right, thank you. County Commissioner, Matt Salka.
Good morning, everyone. Matt Salka, County Commissioner. A couple updates here today. We're on our second meeting for road impact fees. The second meeting will be taking place Wednesday, May 22nd at 6 p.m. All the public is welcome to listen in on that. That'll be online as well as in person at our administration building. The other item too is weather radar is still on track for the end of this year. So no other hiccups yet. I'm not gonna worry. All right, La Plata County Health Departments, we are on our third search for directors. If you know anyone, send them our way, please. Broadband, just a quick update here. Unfortunately, La Plata County's legislation bill for the removal of annual fees and the CDOT right of way did not pass. That was to remove an annual fee for the right of way and CDOT's right of way, and unfortunately didn't pass. The good news is it's engaging with other discussions to be able to look at unsolicited proposals to be able to do some trading of fiber. So that would remove the annual component of paying for that. How they charge fees is by foot, and out here it's by miles. So it can get quite costly. The other two, as well as the La Plata County Commissioners, are considering reallocation of the lodger's tax. So if you have any questions, please reach out to your county commissioners to discuss that with us. And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Not seeing Mayor Buell.
Okay.
Carol. Come on up. You just snuck in.
I did, I like Graham. Good morning. Okay, at our last meeting, we approved a bunch of initiatives in the Community Development Division. We approved the Economic Development Incentive Policy, which is super fun. It provides incentives and pathways for essential businesses and services to open in Durango and stay in Durango. And so that was exciting and very creative, and we did a great job with that program. The City of Durango passed a resolution approving the participation of the Rural Jumpstart zone program, which a couple other communities have done around us. Basically, it offers benefits through grants for up to $40,000 for businesses in the region, and so there's more information on that. We adopted a resolution, or we approved a resolution adopting a schedule for planning and building permit fees based on the ICC 2023 building variance code, so kind of getting our stuff up to date. We had our first reading of the Land Use Development Code text amendments pertaining to the fair share ordinance, which includes rental now for the City of Durango, so that was exciting. Also got news that the new housing development, the residences at Durango the renovation portion should be able to be occupied by the end of this year, and so kind of ahead of schedule, which is great news. So yeah, so there's some exciting things.
There are 4 chairs in the front desk. Bayfield Town Manager, Katie Stickles.
My name is Alexis Hartz. I'm Mayor Pro Tem at Bayfield. My first live meeting, I've been stalking these meetings for quite a while. So not too many updates. Pine River Commons, we are moving dirt out there, or rather the developer is. And lot for sale sign went up, starting at 300,000. So we're excited that that's potential for affordable housing. We just planted 33 trees in town, so come take a look. Thank you.
All right, City of Durango Economic Opportunity Manager, there's Tommy.
Morning, everyone. I haven't met you yet. Tommy Crosby, City of Durango, Economic Opportunity Manager. Try to act as the liaison between our local business community and the city. If you don't know where to start navigating the City of Durango, come knock on my door first. Try to make life as possible for you. I'm here today to chat a little bit about the recently approved Economic Development Incentive Policy. This is an exciting resource that we are happy to be able to bring to businesses in Durango. Really focused on these 3 key themes: growth, resilience, and making sure that we create opportunity for local businesses to stay and grow in Durango. I want to preface this with use of this economic development incentive will be the exception. It will be considered on a case-by-case basis. Its use will be discretionary, not by right. Dissimilar to some of the city's grant programs where we're really encouraging wide and accessible use, this would be a lot more selective and judiciously used than some of those grant programs. Just want to highlight some of our thought and review partners, the Alliance, Region 9, SCAPE, FLC, the Chamber, the city's legal and finance department. They were key in making sure that this economic development incentive policy was the right fit for Durango. These exist across the state of Colorado, across the US, but we recognize that we need a policy that fits to our rural location, not just copy and pasting from another community into Durango. So just again, I really want to highlight that this was very specifically sculpted for our community. So the incentive policy carries these 6 key themes or these 6 key focus areas. A couple that I'm going to really highlight up front. We want to use this policy really in 2 ways. First, as a market-led economic catalyst. So when market forces aren't delivering an essential service to Durango, how can the city step in as a public-private partner and act as that bridge to ensure that our community has all those necessary essential services, whether that's a grocery store in a strategic growth area, a health or treatment center, a transportation hub. We want to make sure that as our community strategically grows, we have those essential community service and a means to obtain them. So that's kind of one of the main focus areas of how this incentive policy will be used. And the other is we really want to ensure, as you all know, Durango has a fantastic startup and entrepreneur culture. I think it blows my mind. Truly, I think we're so lucky to have the resources that we do here to foster and grow businesses. But when those businesses start to scale, we tend to see some of those businesses need to leave for the Front Range, for Arizona, for Texas. So how can we leverage this incentive policy to find pathways forward for those businesses to grow and stay here, to retain those jobs locally instead of needing to see those move elsewhere? So those are kind of the 2 biggest uses that we designed this economic development incentive for. And then some of these other key factor areas, those will all play into the kind of the decision-making matrix of when this policy may be used. Making sure that we're attracting businesses that are a right community fit. That's kind of where that nurturing business environment and community resilience comes in. We want to ensure that as we're catering to our business community, we're also catering to our community at large by, again, thinking of what are those essential services we might need as our community grows. And then this is going to be a diverse range of economic incentives. I think the city's biggest tool that we have to leverage is our sales tax. So the majority of these policies will likely include some sort of sales tax incentive, whether that's a sales tax rebate, a sales tax holiday. That's kind of the largest tool that we have in this economic development incentive toolbox, along with some other pathways forward. Leveraging some of our existing grant programs. We have some good frameworks to work off if we wanted to potentially expand some of those grants for specific projects. Also infrastructure. We recognize that that can be a really big barrier for businesses to grow and expand or relocate locally. So, how might the city be able to leverage a capital improvement project, the timing of that, maybe bumping up a project that was 7 years down in the pipeline, moving that up to, the 1 to 3 year, a little bit more the top of the barrel to time that with the expansion, growth, or relocation of a business. And then, like I mentioned, addressing localized needs, we want to make sure that we're bringing in the right businesses that are the right fit, that there is some sort of clear public benefit through the use of this incentive policy. If the city is opting to use sales tax as a tool, we want to ensure that we're holding ourselves accountable and making sure that there is a clear public benefit in that process. And then lastly, this is a performance-based policy. So incentives would be received upon reaching certain deliverables, whether that's revenue generated, jobs created, a clear public benefit that's been established. This would likely be time bound by, hypothetically, whatever comes first, meeting a 5-year limit or meeting a certain dollar amount limit. So each of these will be tailor-made to each business that is deemed eligible and fit. And just a little bit more on how that decision-making process will work. So these are some of those qualifying criteria that the city is going to look at to make sure that your business meets the majority of these qualifying criteria to be considered for an economic development incentive agreement. A couple I want to highlight here are job creation or retention. Again, thinking of new businesses versus retaining businesses. Looking at either 10 new jobs created or 6 jobs retained that otherwise would have left Durango. Wage standards at or above 100% area median income, and then revenue generation. So businesses must generate a minimum of $500,000 per year to be considered for this incentive policy. So how does the process work? We'll kick things off just like we do really any other normal project with a pre-application meeting, but we'll include a little bit more of an economic development focus in that pre-application meeting. So making sure that your project has a path forward, making sure that the space that you're looking at is appropriate, the land that you're looking to develop is appropriate, including our planners, our engineers, our utility team, just making sure that we check all those boxes to not send you down a road that isn't going to be viable in the long run. After that, we'll ensure that you meet the majority of those qualifying criteria that I outlined on the last page. And then you'll be invited to make a formal submission. So really outlining how do you meet those key qualifying criteria, including a pro forma, really showing the need for this, kind of that but for clause of this project will not move forward, but for the support of the city's economic development incentive policy. After that, the submission would be reviewed, and then we would come to the table with the city manager's office, our economic development team, our legal team, and our finance team to really start getting into the details of what that agreement might look like. That would then be handed off to an external evaluation panel. The panel will review, make recommendations, and hand that off to the city manager's office. The city manager will then review, and it will be the choice of the city manager whether that proposed economic development incentive agreement moves on to city council. That will be brought before council for a final decision, either moving forward or denying the opportunity for an economic development incentive agreement with the city. As far as that evaluation panel that I mentioned goes, we'll have the City of Durango City Manager or a designee, a member of the City of Durango's Community Development Commission, a rep from Region 9, a rep from the Alliance, and then a rep from FLC. I appreciate y'all letting me chat with you a little bit about the economic development incentive policy. We're really excited to have this as a new tool and kind of the arrow, the quiver of Durango's economic development tools. If you want to learn more about the program, I'm happy to share the policy. It just got approved last Tuesday, so I haven't had the chance to update it and put it online, but I'm happy to share the final policy with you. Or if you have questions about yourself or a business that you know of that might be able to really leverage this policy, again, please grab me after the meeting and I'd be happy to chat more about it. Thank you.
Comment. I'd like to thank Ezra Lee, who actually initiated this conversation with the city. And he asked the city to look at this kind of incentive program based on like communities. And so thank you, Ezra, for getting that conversation going.
Well, I want to thank Jose and Tommy for pushing it, right? So it's historic. It's historic for Durango's opportunity, really.
That was the second comment I was gonna make. Thank you, Ezra. Tommy worked his butt off to get this program in place. This is a big deal. I mean, it seems like just another program from the city, but this actually will make a big difference for companies that are coming into the city that have services that we desperately need, as well as companies that we can keep. So great job, Tommy.
Okay, we have a chairman's circle highlight. Where did John go? I saw John.
He's here.
John Harper. That's you.
Yeah. Okay.
You are GM of American.
Gosh, I guess so, that's what you call it sometimes. So, today we're gonna, last time I was here, I talked a little bit about a new equestrian center that we just launched in town. So the equestrian center we launched, last July, it would have been. And, it was something that was slightly ran down and, you know, we're trying to bring more educational events out there. So we're working with the our school district, we're working with different school programs. And we actually just held a 4-H cattle show out there, which brought kids from around the region to show off their cattle, which was a fun event that we actually, did just a couple months back. So this time I'm switching hats to the railroad, talking, you know, and talking like a little bit about the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad, kind of how that railroad operates and some updates in where we are today. Perfect. And so with that, you know, we have been very fortunate that based on the USA Today, we are the #1 railroad in the country. And it's kind of interesting. So we own a couple railroads, and with that, we always kind of play games with each other. So we do have a couple that think they're the redheaded stepchild because they're never #1. And they're like, you guys play favorites. You guys are always winning it. No, that's not like at all. We just happen to be in a lovely place called Durango, Colorado. And really, that's what makes us the #1 railroad is where we are and really the community that we work with. And so the poll actually just closed yesterday for the 2024 votes. So it'll be interesting to see what comes about this year. So we're not just a railroad. When people look at us like, oh, you know, you're out there and you give train rides. It's like, yeah, that's part of what we do, but we also have a food and beverage team. We also have a contracting division that goes around the country fixing other people's railroads because we're truly the experts in the industry. We also do retail. We also have a museum. We have an archaeologist that actually goes out, and if we are digging in specific areas, they look for any type of artifacts. They preserve any documents that we have on site. We also have a consulting division throughout the country, whether it be throughout the state of Colorado, Texas, California, multiple states that we're currently working with, that we not only rebuild other locomotives, other equipment, but we also consult on their operations about how to improve them. In addition, we do special events. And some of the events we actually control and put on, others we partner with, and others are truly just a contract that someone hires us just to run a train and they do their own thing on that. So, you know, some of the famous ones that we have is the Durango Blues Train. How many of you have been on it? Raise your hands. A couple of you. It's a great time. Highly recommend it. That's a prime example of a train that we actually don't operate. All they do is they come in and they contract with us and they say, hey, can we have a train with 300 seats? Okay, yeah, this is how much it costs. Great. They bring in live music, they bring in their own security team, they bring in everything, and they have a wonderful time. So in that example, we are just the operator of the actual train. All of the onboard entertainment, all of the food and beverage, the liquor, whatever like it might be, is going to be at the request and at the setup of the contractor who actually owns the Telluride Blues and Blues Festival up there. Romance on the Rails, great for Valentine's Day. The Polar Express train ride. Actually, right now, it's kind of interesting. So one of our other entities, to talk about our parent company, we control the rights to the Polar Express worldwide. And so with that, we currently operate in Australia, we operate in the UK, Canada, and the US. So this week, we're doing our Polar Enhancement Camp. So it's like there's a whole camp just about the Polar Express? Yes. The whole camp, all you do is Polar Express training, Polar Express enhancement, about the events, the activities, staffing, costuming, you name it, it's going on. So today, actually, this whole week through Saturday, we have representatives from 50 railroads from around the world and 95 attendants that are here on site. And so they'll be cruising like around Durango. You see people with different logos, you see people talking funny. We probably brought them here, so I apologize. We do the cowboy poetry training, which we're working on like right now. And then we also bring in visiting equipment. And so, you know, really, we kind of have a foundation that we're based on 3 legs. We're in preservation, we're in education, and entertainment. So all of the properties we have focus on those 3 aspects. They're not all railroads. We've got railroads and ranches and rodeos and go down the list. But they really focus on those 3 aspects, or they complement our current business. So an example of that is going to be so much of what we do deals around logistics. Whether we're shipping parts, we're shipping equipment, or shipping people, right? And so when we do that, we look at ways to complement how we operate to enhance what we're already doing. And so right now we're looking at third-party logistics centers because we do so much shipping. We have a third-party warehouse in Buffalo, New York. that we have about 90,000 square feet of just retail sitting there. The reason why it's in New York and the reason why it's on the East Coast is when it comes to logistics and shipping from different manufacturers we contract with. That's one of the easiest ports to get into, is kind of like that Northeast corridor. And so when we look at logistics, it's like, can we control the trucking? Can we control the warehousing? And does that improve our operations for our guests and our clients? So that's something we're working on right now. Talking a little bit about trends and kind of what the railroad does specifically here in Durango. And so when we're looking at these trends, it's pretty interesting because this is a 5-year trend with an average in the center. And so with that, we kind of have a couple interesting facts. So kind of this very bottom line is going to be 2020. 2020 was a rough year for us. Rough year with really anybody. It was a rough year mentally, rough year physically, emotionally. And if you had a business, it was worse, maybe. With that being said, though, what's interesting about it is that we still operated. If you were able to survive COVID as a business, it made you stronger. And so that's actually what you're seeing right here. Is during COVID specifically, we reinvented ourselves, our operations, what we did, and how we go to business. And so COVID is the bottom line. We have 2018 for the 416 fire is going to be like the next one up. And then as we continue each year, it almost actually goes in order. So 2021 after COVID, you're going to see us continue to rise. So 2021, 2022, and 2023 are all setting records right now as far as tourism goes. We're currently operating for the 2023 year, just over 220,000 people, which when you look at the railroad historically, that's the most people that has ever been on the train. So 143 plus years, we're setting records today, which is fantastic. And we continue to see that over the last 3 years. 1 year prior to COVID, and then really since after COVID has really grown. And that's with the focus of using those of preservation, education, entertainment. I can't reinforce that enough. And the reason being is when you go somewhere and if you're not experienced, you're really not experiencing or you're not engaged in what you're writing and what you're doing and really what you're there to see, you're not going to remember it. So much of what we do is trying to get people engaged in the history, engaged in our product, and really create an environment that they're going to remember and they're going to come back again and again. An example of that is going to be all of our Polar Express products, our special events like the Blues and Brews trains that we contract with, going to be Romance on the Rails. Right now, on all of our events across the world, we're seeing a return rate of about 63%. So 63% of people in this room will come back every single year for an activity or event that we put on because they had such a good time. That's impressive. And that's our goal, is to have that repeat ridership. And so really what you're seeing like right here, this is specifically going to be in general operations. So this includes all those events as well as the excursions. And with 2023, we did set the record. We did have an economic impact done, which we partnered with Economic Alliance, which I can't be more grateful for. So thank you. Where's you are? Yep. Hey, you're right. And so we did partner with them, and they both advised us and got us connected with a group up in Montana, University of Montana. Okay, good. Right now, the economic impact based on current ridership, how long people stay here, how much money people spend, how long they stay in the region. There's all these different variables, and then there's a multiplier on it. And so with that, our economic impact is north of $400 million just within this area. Looking at 2024 ridership right now, we are seeing spikes throughout kind of our March and April season. So we're anticipating to be over 230,000 to set another record for this area. With that, it's interesting, while we work with different marketing folks within here in Durango, you'll notice that marketing strategies are slightly changing. So the goal is now to drive traffic to the off season. And so we're continuing to work on one with our partners, but two internally to one, have price adjustments to drive traffic to the off seasons. Two, to change our consist, which is how our train layout is, in our offerings to again drive traffic to the off seasons. And then three, to also change our marketing strategy to continue to work on those shoulder seasons to make sure that our ridership is more even, I guess, or spread out throughout the year. With that being said, our summer season, which we're typically sold out June 1st through about August 15th. There's anywhere we sell out 30 to 45 days at a time. If you're available to get tickets, typically based on cancellations. With that, we've been sold out with those stats for the last 35 years. So we keep our data for a long time. We've got documents from 1880, so we have a lot of data to say the least. So 2024 is looking to be a good overall economic year for tourism here locally. Some things that we're looking at going this year is we have a new green initiative. And so this has been something we've been talking about for a while. And to show the power of the community and show the power of these meetings, some of this is actually done right here in this room in these morning economic alliance meetings. So when you look at first our locomotives. So our locomotives, we have converted all of our locomotives to burn 100% recycled oil. So what does that mean? So every time you take your vehicle to Jiffy Lube, every time you take it to the dealership, every time you change out your oil and it goes somewhere, there's a possibility that we're actually picking that oil up, shipping it down to Aztec. We're cleaning it, we're screening it, we're refining it, cutting it to the specific viscosity that we need, and then we're bringing it back to Durango. So it is 100% recycled. When we look at purchasing carbon credit, that's another aspect that we've done as a company. We've also partnered with community members to purchase additional credits to like eliminate our carbon footprint. When we look at our facilities, we've worked with LPA and other organizations to improve our shop facilities, and as we go to eliminate all fluorescent lighting and go to full LED lighting. We worked with different groups in town to plant milkweed seeds to bring back specific species of butterflies. We're currently working on the forest management program, specifically the Colorado State Forest Service, which is different than the Federal Forest Service, to work on urban interface plans. And one of the biggest examples of that is the 550 overpass going to Purgatory. You'll notice a big operation on the right-hand side, and that's a partnership that we're a part of right now. And really like the last one, which is pretty unique, which I was sitting here in a meeting about 6 months ago, and Shaw Solar came up and they started to talk about their, like their plans, their solar programs and different benefits of it. And from that meeting six months ago to where we are today, we're now installing the largest solar facility in downtown Durango and in the city limits, which is great. And we're starting on that this summer, which will be great. And so it's going to be a significant program. It'll cover 3 separate buildings we have on site. Don't worry, they're non-historical buildings. I have to note that because we can't do that. But with that being said, it'll be on our car shop facility, our museum, our mechanical facilities, our machine shop space. And so it'll be a pretty significant program with, I think, just about 900 panels that are going to be going up and 673,000 kilowatt hours. So pretty significant programs that we're going to be running. We look at kind of our community impact and a lot of our community donations. So right now we're donating to about 200 different nonprofits in the area. We both do nonprofits and for-profits based on what the company is, what their mission is, and what their goals are. So here's just a small example of them. And it's truly something that so much of what we believe is if you take care of your community, they will take care of you. And so anytime, whether it's kids in 4-H program, kids part of the football team, in the band group, whatever it might be, or ask for a donation, we'll always do something. It may be small, it may be tickets, it may be $100, but we always want to be able to contribute to the environment that we live in. And so really with that, that's kind of the update of where the railroad is right now. This is kind of a summary of the parent company. So the railroad is held in a parent company called American Heritage Railways. And so that is an umbrella company that it's just a holding company. And what that means, basically, it's non-operational. I'm not the GM of the railroad here. I'm financing here. I don't run the retail here. I'm more as a support structure from the parent company. Under the parent company, we have a couple different railroads. We have a licensing company, which owns the rights to the Polar Express. It controls the rights to Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Lucy, and the Gang, has held rights to Thomas the Tank, Wizard of Oz, a variety of licenses from Warner Brothers Studios and Universal Studios. Railroads Productions is actually a theatrical production company that travels the country putting on live theater and live entertainment. Tucson Ranch is the ranch I mentioned earlier. That's a ranch out in Hesperus that we're currently operating. We have Old Tucson in Tucson, Arizona. And we have Heritage Rail Management, which is a consulting and equipment rebuild company. The Grand Imperial in Silverton. as well as Horizon Ticketing and Marketing, which is a ticketing and marketing company that we launched last year. And so talking about things that complement what we do, and as we expand, if we can bring more things internally, we're going to. And so the ticketing company is something that we actually brought on last year because we realized that right now, between our subsidiaries as well as our contracts with our licensees, we're doing just over 2 million people through our properties. And so when you look at 2 million people and you're paying someone else to process those, it's like, well, can we do it better or can we bring it in-house? So with that being said, we actually partnered with software developers and with a company that's existing, and we launched a new program called Horizon Ticketing and Marketing. So a lot of that team's gonna be based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and we have about 10 people on site. So we're continuing to grow, and those are one of the major subsidiaries that we have here. I think that's it. Yeah. So that's a quick recap of what the railroad is now, some of the subsidiaries, how it's structured, and the impact from 2023 going into 2024. You know, so much of what we do is partnering with the community. So if you guys have ideas of things that we can work on, we can change, we can do better, please feel free to reach out to myself or really anyone down there at the railroad. We're all really nice people. So but yeah, guys, thank you.
And I could attest to John. It would be very nice.
You will.
I mean, we welcome back Senator Hickenlooper's regional representative.
Did you find that shot?
We always.
That's digging deep on the internet.
I don't do that.
It's okay, I probably have this room as a Facebook. Okay, so my name is Lisa Poole. I am the Southwest Regional Director for Senator Hickenlooper. Just a few updates. So yes, I was out on maternity leave. Now I'm back. My baby's 5 months old. He's great, if you're well. Okay, so I want to just highlight two things. We always love bringing in a lot of federal funding to local communities. So one way that Senator Hickenlooper gets to do that is through congressionally directed spending, AKA earmarks. So right here in La Plata County, as you may remember, the government, Congress took a little while to figure out how to fund itself. So I think they're probably like 6 months into the fiscal year before they finally fully funded the government. And so in March, we found out that these projects were funded in La Plata County. So Access Health System got $1.1 million to do their community healthcare campus service expansion. And that'll allow Access to provide an additional 12,000 health visits per year and serve over 2,200 additional unique patients. Bayfield got $1.5 million for their Highway 160 East Bayfield Parkway intersection to really provide some safe alternatives there and reduce the vehicle pedestrian conflicts. So the Southwest Colorado Education Collaborative was awarded $1 million. And that's to create this new training facility alongside industry to create manufactured homes, partnering with high school students and beyond. So it kind of is trying to figure out the puzzle piece of housing solutions and upskilling folks and giving new skills to high school students. Very cool. And then 3 million to the Rock Creek Affordable Housing. So you already saw that via drone. Super exciting to support those projects right here in La Plata County. The senator works to make sure that every county sees some benefit from congressionally directed spending. The other update that I want to give is just, you know, we've been seeing more and more in the news about a proposed Dolores Canyons National Monument, and some people are confusing that with the the proposed national conservation area around the Dolores River, which is 68,000 acres right around the river corridor in Montezuma, Dolores, and San Miguel counties. The proposed national monument that's been getting a lot of press lately is and that's being proposed by a coalition of conservation organizations. That is in Montrose and Mesa counties. And it really is looping in, you know, the side canyons. When there is a national monument proposal or designation, it can only be for federal public lands. And so this one, there's a lot of federal public land up there. And the current proposal is for 390,000 acres. Senator Hickenlooper has not made any kind of decision around that proposal yet. In fact, he just paid a big visit to the west end of Montrose County and Grand Junction to hear from folks. So he hosted 2 huge listening sessions. Over 300 people showed up in Natarita. I think that's, wow. I don't know. Half the town. And over 500 people showed up in Grand Junction. So just to give you an idea of how much people care about this issue, whether for or against, or just have a lot of questions. So he has directed me and other staff to continue doing a lot of input gathering, stakeholder engagement on the issue since it is so big. So those are the 2 primary updates from Senator Hickenlooper's office. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and now I'd like to welcome our special guest from CAEL. Is CAEL?
CAEL, yeah.
CAEL, all right. The Council for Adult and Experiential Learning, your project run partner. We have Scott Campbell.
Good morning. My name is Scott Campbell. I'm Vice President for Higher Education Partnerships at CAEL, which stands for the Council for Adult and Experiential Learning. We're engaged with the Alliance with Fort Lewis College. We've received an opportunity now grant for $1.2 million. And so I want to just take a couple minutes and introduce, who CAEL is and just that, how excited we are to do this work and engage with you. I'm blown away by some of the projects that are going away. It's inspiring. And I lived for 10 years in Westminster in the Denver area. And just walking up this morning and feeling the Colorado, those early morning, cool mornings just made me miss this area. So thank you for having me. So CAEL, we've been around for 50 years. This is our 50th year. We're a nonprofit. We've been engaged in the work of helping colleges and universities better serve non-traditional populations. So better serving working adults, folks that are coming back, historically that meant, someone who's 25 and older. But as time has gone on, and for an institution, serving an adult learner population often meant, accelerating their, courses, offering a weekend degree program. Maybe for others, it meant going online, doing things like that. And we helped and assisted in that way. But as time's gone on, it's, the choices for students to go to college are national. People can access education from almost anywhere. And so to be effective in serving that population, you need to be pretty flexible and pretty innovative. And so we're helping colleges and universities kind of make those adaptations. So that often, and I think in this case, it often means aligning curricular programs with workforce development needs. So working with folks in the community to identify what's needed, and how can we meet those challenges together, and doing that in a partnership. So often what CAEL ends up being is an intermediary between foundations, workforce development boards, employers, and higher education institutions. And in fact, we're here these next couple of days, or these started yesterday and having more focus groups today, talking to employers, talking to potential students, talking to stakeholders about, what those needs are. And so we want to really make sure that we're capturing the voice of the potential student, that we're working with Michael and the Alliance to make sure that we're doing everything to make sure that that partnership is fruitful. Historically, workforce boards, colleges, universities have kind of operated, alongside each other, but really not in partnership. It might be cursory. And I think there's a real opportunity here to do some amazing collaboration. You're already showing examples of that in the work that you're already doing. So at CAEL, we're committed, we're fully engaged in this work. A big piece of this work for us is we call credit for prior learning. And that's where we give students credit for what they know and can do. So folks come, there's 80 million people in this country that have some college and no degree, that have experience, and they're much more likely to come back to a college or university that values what that experience is, what they know and can do. So CAEL is a national leader in that, helping colleges and universities establish those programs for credit for prior learning. And I think that's a big part of the project that we're going to be doing with Fort Lewis and the Alliance. We have a tool we call the Credit Predictor Pro, which we're going to be able to do outreach to potential students so they can identify where they might have college level learning. And in turn, what that ends up doing is shortening the time to a credential or meaningful degree or a certificate, or lower the cost. So if you can affect the time to credential and the cost in a positive way, and in doing so honor that what that student can know and can do, and help them feel like they're heard, like they're part of that what they've done is meaningful, that can really go a long way. And so we're happy to be engaged in that work, and excited about this project together. Patricia, did I miss anything?
No, the only other thing I wanted to mention is CAEL is also a membership organization. So we have over 5,500 institutions that we talk to on the daily. And so we also have a research arm. And so we're also doing research on those institutions about, best practices, what's working, what's not working for students, and really understanding, right, those employer institution partnerships. And so we're very steeped in this cross section of being really at that intersection of work and learning. We do have a national conference. It's in November in New Orleans this year, if you're interested, over Halloween. And then the other part is we run 2 national industry sector partnerships, one in telecommunications and one in energy. So those both have over 3,000 national employers that are in those 2 sectors. And we're also learning about what their talent needs are. How are we helping cultivate, right, those skills and abilities for those industries? And so those are really great learnings for us. And we're sharing that, right, so that other people can understand how to get into energy and how to get into telecom, and how those pathways have adjacent on-ramps and off-ramps to other industries. Everything we do in life is based on skills. And so we start learning skills the day we're born. And so we really want to lift up what those skills can lead to from a livelihood in working, so that everybody can have a fruitful prosperity life. And so we're excited to be part of this project and get to meet more of you. And so I think, Rosalinda, the session at 9:30 today, right? Anybody is welcome to join. And then the other session is at
3:30.
3:30.
Both here.
Both here. So come join if you want to learn a little bit more about the work that we're doing, and excited to be part of this meeting.
Yeah. One last aspect of our work together is going to be what we call the Adult Learner 360. And that's a diagnostic that helps colleges and universities, and we've adapted it to the workforce as well, to help identify strengths and challenges around serving the working adult population. And so in doing so, we'll have real actionable recommendations and things like that. That'll help us. And we're going to do a pre-test and a post-test, so we'll be able to measure our progress over time, as well as benchmark this region with other regions across the country. So excited for that work, And thanks in advance for your engagement.
So Lisa, you know, the way it goes. Okay, board report. The Alliance Board were presented with Q1 financials. Things are going fabulous. We're actually 10% ahead of where we wanted to be in terms of revenue. We are 97% of where we wanted to be in terms of spending. So those are both great things. Great job, Mike and staff on managing the budget and doing such a terrific job of it. Next update is a difficult update. Mike presented the board with a succession plan for the executive director role in the Alliance, and the board discussed the plan. The executive committee got together, discussed the plan. The succession plan has our deputy director, Sarah Tober, moving into the executive director role as of July 1st. The executive committee met with Sarah probably a lot. Had a lot of great conversations. We were totally impressed and blown away with her experience and her skill set. And we're really excited looking forward to working with Sarah. And Mike will have next month at this gathering. Mike and I had a good conversation last night. And I promised him we wouldn't do a big thank you this morning, but we would next month. So you're all gonna have to come back next month. The full board then met to talk about bringing Sarah on board as executive director, and that conversation went extraordinarily well. We have all the confidence in the world in Sarah, and everyone is looking forward to working with you. Thank you, Mike and Sarah, for putting together a succession plan that ensured continuity of the Alliance. I'm sure you all are aware the Alliance is as strong, if not stronger, than it has ever been. And the board really wanted to make sure that trajectory maintained and kept going, and saw the continuity of having Sarah. He's been a part of the organization 2 years, been a part of programming, is familiar with the operations, really thought it was important for the continuity to have Sarah move into that role. So Mike, next month you'll get a formal thank you, but thank you. Thank you. A new member of our community who wants to be a volunteer. We could have just. Anyway. More on that next month, but like I said, difficult update. It's been awesome working with Mike, and it's awesome working with Sarah. So it's exciting and sad all at the same time. And even brought Jameson back. Anyway, happy to answer any questions at the end of our meeting. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mike for executive director reports. Thank you.
So the transition is really about timing. When you have a successor as talented as Sarah, who says she's ready, then the best thing to do for the organization is really think about a succession plan. And as Steve stated, the organization could not be in a better position. That's when a leader actually looks to transition, right? So I think good leaders know when and how to replace themselves. And I consider myself extremely lucky to have a team that can implement a succession plan, and somebody like Sarah that has the ability to step in and bring in fresh energy and actually take it to the next level. So I'm really, really excited about the future of the organization. So thank you very much, Sarah. Contrary to what people have asked, I'm not leaving the community. I have 2 little kids in the school system. Thank you, Karen. And I don't have another job that's triggering this. It really is all about timing, and it really is all about the team and the organization. So more to come in the next couple of months. Let's get back to business as usual. Project Roselinda's done an amazing job. The The micro certification and leadership is focusing on people is full. I think it starts next week, is that correct? The curriculum team has been off and running, it's buttoned up. I've been fortunate to be part of that curriculum team and I'm really excited about the content to follow. The leadership micro certification focused on strategy is still open for registration. It will fill up. It is probably halfway full and it starts July 17th and it'll run through September. So please see Rosalinda. They have done an amazing job of getting the curriculum up and running, thanks to Liz Cartier and the Cat School of Business. So please do see Rosalinda, because as I said, it will fill up. Catalyst round 3, that round is closed. I think we have 4 applications that are currently in review. Sarah and team will look at those and make determinations over the next month with the committee. Then it goes to the evaluation committee. So it's a work group, then it goes to evaluation committee, very similar to Tommy's structure, and then it'll go to approval. We expect distribution in those grants to be made in July, is my guess, right? Is that about timing? The Catalyst revolving loan fund, great and exciting news. The terms were recently reviewed with the RHA board. These are monies that sit at the RHA from DIDF. There's probably close to $1 million sitting there that will go out. The terms will go through an application process that will be launched in June, and we'll probably start writing checks in July. And this is a little bit different than the pre-development fund. This is actually a revolving loan fund for construction at very low interest, and will drive down the cost of the capital stack and get these projects out the door. The RHA Housing Summit, Sarah Schwartz led that effort along with the staff, phenomenal job. So it's the first annual housing summit that was held a couple of weeks ago. We had over 100 attendees, and we had speakers from Estes Park, the Front Range, from Santa Fe. We had folks that contributed from our region, and it was just a phenomenal day. So if folks attended here, you can attest to that. The Alliance Summit, we now are starting to talk about it, especially in lieu of the transition. And please hold the date for September 19th. We'll probably in the next 4 weeks have more information on that, including theme, keynote, and really start to knock on doors to get our sponsored partners in place and start marketing that in earnest. So with that, I'll turn it back to Steve.
Thank you. By the way, Mike, I'll point out, and I mentioned this to you, Mike and I had a call last night. The summit has been so successful. How many of you saw, it was just last year that Chris Shemra spoke about gratitude. So Chris sent me a message yesterday through LinkedIn asking how he could get back to Durango to do something more. So literally yesterday. So I think the summit's not just awesome for our community, it's showing off our community to people. Chris is in New York City, who get to come in and see what we're doing and have them be impressed with us, just like we're impressed with them. So great job to everyone around the summit. Jen Susser is here for a quick announcement from the PowerHouse.
Just wanted to share a quick announcement about a project the PowerHouse has been looking at for about the last year. As we went through a strategic planning process, looking at where can we have bigger impact on the community, looking at potential to invest in early childhood education and expanding opportunities. Across the country, there are dozens of museums who've embraced a museum-based early learning program model. Museums like the PowerHouse and our peers put kids and their curiosity first, building out spaces that kids get to explore, play in. What better space to invite kids to learn in before they reach school age? Project we're looking at is opening 3 classrooms that would serve 40 to 45 2-year-old and up children. The where is not in the old power plant building, it's in what community development staff like to tell me is the sand shed, the 1-story, 3,300 square foot building where if you're a parent, you've dropped your kids off for summer camp. If you visited me in my office, that's the building we're talking about. Why? For us, it's about expanding capacity for licensed care in our community and really supporting our vision to build a community of curious, capable, and science literate problem solvers. The model we're looking at, I'll talk about in just a second, is looking at this as an employer-sponsored project. And that means that the PowerHouse and at least one other employer as an anchor partner would provide first access to the center to a group of employees. And I'll talk a bit about why employer-sponsored versus community. Our hope is that those 40 to 45 students are a mix of employees of some of our anchor partners. So in priority communities that have access, have difficulty accessing care due to family economics or language or culture, and some apt for community as a whole to engage in the center. And the win is we are working right now on a grant opportunity through the state of Colorado that was released last week with a June deadline. The hope would be to open a space as early as September 2025. Reality check is with contractors planning and all those things, it might be 2026, but our hope is to look at least the possibility of opening fall of 2025. I've had a chance to be part of a statewide learning cohort through a Denver-based organization that's really spent the last 6 months looking at business models, facility needs, building out a high-performing culture of learning for kids. And the reason that I asked Mike and Steve for a chance to chat for a second today is we see the most viable way to do this as an employer-sponsored project. The concept is, reality is early childhood is very, very expensive. It is a hard business. There's a reason we have a gap in care in our community. And there's a nationwide model that really looks at a tri-share model of how to build out affordable, attainable childcare for our community. And that cost of care gets split between parents who are investing in tuition, employers who consider some level of contribution to help support quality and affordability of a project, and the public sector. The state of Colorado, through their CCAP program, universal pre-K, there are really generous tax incentives in the state of Colorado for individuals and businesses that contribute to childcare projects. We're excited to see the conversation happening with the Florida County Commissioners about potentially looking at the lodger's tax as a funding source to help invest in that sector. Why is this an employer project? Why should an employer be interested? About 2/3 of kids in our county have all of their available parents are in the workforce. There is no one home to take care of a child. We have, La Plata County is designated a child care desert in the state of Colorado. That means for every one space for children 3 and under, there are more than 3 children needing and seeking care. That's how big the gap of unmet need is in our community. Statewide, the estimate is the economic impact of insufficient care is $2.2 billion annually. Cost for a family can be $13,000 a child without paying market-based tuition. If you think about your employees and where that falls, that can really stretch a family budget and drive people out of our community and out of the workforce. Few national statistics, over half of parents who leave the workforce cite the lack of viable childcare to support that. It is prompting that decision. And 1 in 5 employees say they would leave a job if they had a path to an employer that could provide better support for their childcare needs. So as you as an employer looking at recruiting and retaining the workforce, that's how valuable employees see childcare as potential impact for them. And those benefits extend beyond recruitment and retention, that the productivity loss for your employees who cannot fully focus on their work because they're trying to piece together childcare is substantial. And employers who partner with a project like the PowerHouse or elsewhere, it's your chance to help expand community access and be part of your community investment portfolio. Last thing I just say is I'm in conversations with about a half dozen different employers to identify at least one anchor partner to be a co-applicant for us with in this grant opportunity. State of Colorado would cover about 75% of the cost of us opening this center. But we really do need to have at least 1 acre partner at our side as we step into the grant project. And I just want to say one quick word of thanks to Lynn Urban from United Way, Heather Hawk from the Early Childhood Council of Lapata County, and Tiffany Broderson from Region 9, all have been great partners in helping us identify this opportunity and step into it. So if anyone sees themselves as a potential employer partner, I'd be happy to chat at the end of the meeting. Thanks.
One last update from Waylon Ryan, Visit Durango.
Thank you. So I'm Waylon Ryan, the Sustainability and Policy Manager with Visit Durango. We have a lot going on over there, but I'm here to bring up 2 grants that we have going on. By and far, one of the largest issues we saw when we did countywide listening sessions was water. So with that, we've teamed with the city of Durango and the state of Colorado to do a grant turf replacement. This is only applicable if you are in the city of Durango, but you get free on-site consultation, up to $4,300 off your final bill, and it's open for any schools, multifamily residents, businesses, and churches of any denomination. We also have some set aside specifically for hospitality and tourism, various run industries. So please reach out to the city site. All the information can be found on the City of Durango's website. The other one I wanted to bring up is our Destination Advancement Grant. It's open right now for application. It closes June 30th at 4 p.m. So write that down. This is open to any nonprofit or business in La Plata County. The grant really aims to do one of these 4 items. So it's pretty wide reaching, but again, we're trying to get that impact. An example of what we had last year is we had Montesou Kitchen apply, and they had a this culinary program. So with those funds, they're able to get 4 out of their 10 graduates to the last class with this grant placed in a local restaurant and working. So it's great, more jobs and more people to help keep our tourism economy going. So again, with that, all nonprofits and for-profits who are based in La Plata County, deadline on June 30th. More info on durango.org/partners. Also, feel free to pick my brain after the meeting on any questions you may or may not have about either of the grants. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for being with us. Our next meeting is June 11th. Till then, have a great day, week, month. See you later. Thank you.
So, love it.